this is the last section where we outline potential arguments that could be made on your behalf to help your broker negotiate lower premiums with the underwriters on your workers' compensation. This is kind of a catch-all section called Other Arguments. The first we're going to identify is accident investigation. Accident investigation is something you perform separately and apart from reporting of the claim to the workers' compensation insurance company or any insurance company for that matter. So accident investigation is something you perform internally to make sure that you don't have claims in the future. And you want to outline in as great a detail as possible what the steps are that you take to perform accident investigation. So for example, you can outline who performs it. Is it a supervisor, a manager? Do they use a checklist? Do they take photos of the accident scene? Do they interview witnesses? In as great a detail as possible, outline exactly what you do. And again, anything you can put in writing and send to your broker electronically that can be conveyed on to underwriters is very valuable. In addition to outlining your accident investigation procedure, you should outline what you do with the findings. You convey these findings to your employees in a safety meeting. And this can be really powerful because if employees see that you're taking steps to prevent future injuries, they can get the message that you're looking out for them, number one. Number two, it's very important that they see that you care about safety, that it is a high priority. And so when you convey your accident investigation findings, it says that we just don't treat accidents as a part of doing business. We're trying to prevent all accidents in the future and to protect the employees. So outline in detail everything about your accident investigation procedure, and that can help your broker negotiate with the underwriters, conveying again that you're a superior risk. Next, witness interviews. Witness interviews can be very compelling in terms of identifying fraudulent claims or in terms of identifying causes of accidents that can help prevent future recurrence of similar types of injuries. And in addition, it's been found that if you have a procedure where you have multiple parties interview the injured worker, obviously at the time that the injured worker is available after the injury, but if you have multiple parties interview the injured worker, there's a lot of evidence that fraudulent claims can be reduced or prevented in this way because injured workers who are creating a bogus claim tend to have trouble keeping their story straight. And if they start to get nervous that they're being exposed as bringing a fraudulent claim, they might back off and suddenly declare that they've recovered or the claim duration might be shortened significantly. So that's a really good procedure, have multiple parties interview the injured worker. Doctor interview. Many employers have developed a relationship with a treating physician that is very close so that the doctor actually looks out for the employer. And so when the doctor first interviews the injured worker, it's valuable, for example, to give the doctor the first report of injury. And the doctor can compare the first report of injury, that what the employee said at the time he or she was injured, with what the employee is now telling the doctor. And if there's a discrepancy, the doctor can challenge the employee or relay that to the employer so an investigation could be done. It's a really good procedure. A lot of employers have developed close relationships with a treating doctor who actually really looks out for the employer, not only at the time of the injury, but also if you perform pre-employment physicals, post-op or pre-employment physicals. The doctors can sometimes perform interviews to find out if, in fact, this employee might have a pre-existing condition that could trigger a future claim, and the doctor can look out for you in that regard. Again, these are legal issues. You should talk to your insurance professional about how to implement this, but it is something that is not uncommon. Next up, age of workforce. Depending on your type of business, the age of your workforce can be a very compelling reason for an underwriter to look at you more favorably than others in your industry. And it really depends on the industry you're in. For some industries, it's better to have younger, healthier workers, and for other industries, it's better to have mature, more experienced workers. But this is an argument you can make if, in fact, you think your employee base has an advantage from a workers' compensation standpoint in terms of the average age of the workforce. Low frequency of claims. Your broker should be able to help you, tell you if your frequency of claims historically has been superior to that of others in your industry. As a rough note, several years ago, it was probably on average, there were probably 10 claims for every 100 workers. That's gone down. Frequency has gone down. I don't know exactly what the number is right now, but it's down from there. But that's a rough gauge, and brokers should be able to help you tell you what the frequency is in your industry, and you can make arguments with the broker to the underwriter that in fact your frequency is lower and a reflection of a better operation. Last item in this is we can talk about a shift in the type of injuries. So, for example, you may have had in the past a significant number of lifting injuries, but suddenly in the past 2 years, those lifting injuries have disappeared. And if you can tie that to some specific steps that you've taken internally to eliminate those lifting injuries, that should be conveyed to the broker. The underwriter should know about those things and not simply assume that you've had a couple of lucky years.